You were talking about Ironman, and I want to get to that next because, man, I look at, and I follow you on Strava, and I look at all that you've accomplished fitness-wise, and it inspires me to push myself. Where'd your drive for fitness start, and what makes you want to keep going and keep competing?
I mean, I was fat and I was overweight, and I was like, I got to not be fat anymore. So I went and did a 5K. That was probably 10 years ago. And it just has gone from a game of that to growth and saying, hey, what's better than a 5K, a 10K? And then what's better than a 10K? You know, a Tough Mudder. And then it evolved from Tough Mudders to Spartans. And it evolved from Spartans to Spartan World Championships to climbing glaciers to then doing Ironmans, right? So it was like, a friend of mine, Lou Holtz, I got to golf with him a couple weeks ago. I love this guy, but he's got a good saying. He said forever, like in public speaking, is like, you're either growing or you're dying. And he's right. Like, there's no level. You're not, when somebody says, how are you doing? You're either retracting as a human being or you're growing as a human being. So I always like to try to make sure I'm putting enough out there to the world that shows them and shows myself that I'm growing and I'm doing more than I was doing yesterday.
I want to talk about, because I think we're coming up on the year anniversary, or we've passed it already, but the 7 marathons in 7 days in 7 different countries. What was that like?
What's today? The 9th, 10th? We were in Dubai last year. Hey, we were in Dubai last year. Listen, 30 of us on a plane traveling to 7 continents. We touched down in 9 different airports in 7 days. We're in the air 77 hours, and none of us got COVID. I don't even know how that happened, but none of us got COVID. And that was in February, right, of last year.
Yeah.
I look back on it, and it was such an adventure. It was, the most fun I had was meeting people from all around the world that had the same common goal, which is to go out and, sleep on a plane and then wake up and knock out another marathon in another continent, which is completely bat crazy, but it's what we all did. And it was the adventure of a lifetime. I don't know that I'll ever do it again, though.
It does look like it was a lot of fun. Well, you were running in snow one of those times too?
Antarctica was, probably, I'm going to say, the temperatures were -20 with 40-mile-an-hour winds, which is not how it's supposed to be. So the reason you do the World Marathon Challenge in February, which is when they do it every year, is because that's Antarctica's summer. So it's actually kind of mild. They've had runs in Antarctica where it was like, it's warmer than Wisconsin, so, it's 30 degrees and it's sunny and it's not a big deal at all, right? If there's no wind. We happened to not get one of those days. We got delayed by a day. We were going to take the jet that they were flying us in on there, but they couldn't do that. So we had to hire a couple Russians in an Ilyushin 76 cargo plane to actually fly us in, knife through these massive winds and land the plane. And we got out and we were basically almost blown over as soon as we got out of the plane. So, but we knocked it out. We did it. It didn't go quick, but we got through it and got back on the plane and got out safely back to Cape Town.
Man, that is insane. I saw pictures that you posted. You were like bundled up, like it was crazy, man.
Yeah,
that's
there was
insane.
no way keeping warm. There was, they did the course as an out and back, so it was like literally we ran around the plane 14 times, and it was basically you ran a mile this way, and the mile this way was directly into the wind. So you're just leaning over, and the wind is just kind of like hitting you up, and then when the wind was at your back going the opposite way, it would almost push you over. The wind was so hard. You could have stood there in the wind because you're running on a sheet of ice. The wind would have just like scooted you, a mile. If you just would have stood there and done nothing, it would have just moved you a mile. So it was the tale of two, tale of 2 runs basically.
That is insane. I know I'm tight on time, you're tight on time, so I want to finish on this. You were talking about pulling David aside before a race and giving him the pressure. So what's the words of wisdom for David as he embarks on another Daytona 500 this weekend?
I'm going to give you a line from my son. My son invented this line. I don't know if it's ever been said before, but I think it's very relevant. Smooth is fast and slow is slow. There's no way around it. If you're slow, you're just slow. And if you're smooth, you're fast. So smooth is fast and slow is slow.
I like it. And
so
hey, you gotta
be smooth.
You gotta be smooth at Daytona, get through all the wrecks, and finish in that top spot. Well, Rick, I'm looking forward to it. I will be down in Daytona. I'll be rooting that car on the Select Blinds car in Daytona for the Daytona 500. Rick, I appreciate you taking time.
Thanks, Andrew.